Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and today we're going to take a look at a different way of getting firewood. So this is a bundle of slab wood, which is a byproduct of a sawmill operation. It's basically the outside pieces that they don't have a use for. And a lot of times you can get this for little to nothing. I paid $10 for this bundle right here. And that seems like a lot of wood for $10, but what's going to tell if that's worth it or not is how long does it take to break that down into a usable product and how much firewood do you get from it. So I'm guessing this is $50 of firewood and I can do it in a couple hours, but we're gonna find out. So first thing I gotta decide is how I wanna do it. I had initially thought that since they band this up, I could just come in 16 inches and cut through the whole pile at least a couple times, but I don't think that's very practical really, because the ends aren't meeting up with each other every time. So you're not gonna get the same 16 inches. And it would be hard to cut through that. You could only make a couple cuts before you're over to your banding and it all comes loose. Then I thought about taking it and setting it next to the shop and using a chop saw, miter saw. And that might work well, I don't know. But I think what I'm gonna try today is bundling it up into my grapple, matching up the ends, and cutting it while it's being held by the grapple. So let's give it a try. I just realized that half of what I was doing wasn't in the frame. Whoops. So I tried a couple of different ways to cut this up, and I think it would just be a matter of trial and error, because I know the way I'm doing it is not the best way. Felt pretty efficient cutting that up with it in the grapple, but I'm having a hard time getting a good pile of it in the grapple that's not falling all over the place, because some of the pieces are really top heavy on one end, and I think I'm just gonna pick them up and load them in there by hand, but then clamp down on them to cut. This is the point when my day got a lot better because my grandson came out to show me how it's done. Yeah, where the log is irregular widths, it'll break in the middle, or it'll be really heavy on the middle, and those can't be cut this way. Now that I'm done and I'm looking back at it, I kind of think the first mistake was unbundling the wood. The best bet in my mind, is probably to cut it while it's still held tight and cut the whole stack at once. But I didn't get a chance to try that this time. All right, Zayden, you ready to be a helper? This is when it's good to have a 5-year-old grandson who wants to be a firewood helper. I botched that. He is 6 years old, which is like a 16% difference from 5. It's the kind of mistake you don't want to make. How much wood can a 6-year-old move? Can you handle these pieces?
Yeah.
The biggest problem with cutting this up is keeping your chain out of the dirt when dealing with all the little pieces down on the ground. And I did not find a great solution for that, but I'm wondering if the best solution is to not use a chainsaw at all. I could have set up my miter saw and cut all this on a miter saw. Probably would have been slower, but would have been less hassle. Over here. I've filled my basket, which is 1/3 of a cord, and this is not great firewood I'd be proud to sell, which is why I said I think I have $50 worth. It's normally be about 65, but this is kind of irregular lengths and there's more bark in it. So even after this dries, I'm gonna say this is $50 worth. And then I've got some more down here on the ground. This is all chunks that are too big. I've got it cut to length. This big pile here. All of this is cut to length, but it still needs to be put on the splitter. So, is this worth it? I don't like this. Compared to splitting regular firewood on a splitter, where you get it down to rounds with a lot fewer cuts and then you're running the splitter, I like that a lot better, and I like the finished firewood better. The problem here is, like this little stuff I have that's left, I'd have to cut it one little bitty pieces at a time because you can't cut it laying on the ground. So it's a good learning experience, but I don't think I will buy any more of this slab wood to turn into firewood. Now, if we were having a bonfire, like we have a big fire ring out there where we can use these big pieces, but we can also use pieces 4 foot long, where I just had to cut that bundle in half. I think this would be great firewood for a bonfire. But if you want it down to 16 inches for your wood stove, I wouldn't buy slab wood. Just my thoughts on it. Anyway, I appreciate you taking time to watch the video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.